Would you rather encounter Bigfoot or confront your own demons and go within? If you're wondering that, you're in the right
Wow.
place.
Wow, there's a question. I have no fear of Bigfoot. From what I know about that species, if that's the right thing you would call them, that it's like a bear. It's very similar to a bear. And there are all different kinds of them. In the Himalayas, they're white. They're pretty aggressive there. In the southeast of the United States, on the Gulf of America, they're called swamp people. There's a lot of names for them. They smell pretty bad down there. They live more uh, underground. So I don't know what their personality is. I don't know if they like fried chicken or whatever. If they're southern. In the Northwest, there's quite a large population. I don't know why or where, but I think they're all over the world. And some are very nice, and some are just jerks. And some kind of control the others, and they stay away from or gather together. They do have families, they have children. And I'm curious, I don't know the answer to this if they have souls. I don't know. In this work, of course, there's more questions than answer. It's curious. I know that dolphins, the cetaceans, do, that they evolve alongside other beings on this planet, but they are ensouled beings from elsewhere. Dogs and cats don't have souls. My cat might argue with me, but they do not. They're not ensouled beings. So I'm not afraid of Bigfoot. The ones that are interesting to me, I don't want to talk about because there's a lot of controversy, governmental. The dogmen, I have had some kind of combo with them, and it's similar to the Bigfoot situation, and that there are good ones and bad ones. Some of them are assets, governmental assets, and they are also from somewhere else. But I'm not trying to hold any information back. Some things you just shouldn't be talking about. There's the Mothman. Mothman is very interesting. It's kind of eerie because Mothman seems to show up before great tragedies, the collapse of a bridge. I wonder if people saw him in the Asheville area or with all the flooding and the hurricane problems that we had in the southeast of the United States. I don't know. So a cryptid is something that is to me connected to other realms. It is interdimensional or interdimensional. The Bigfoot are very much connected to UFOs, UAEs, whatever you want to call them. I call these people who come here from other planets like astronaut terranauts, TERA, Earth. They're terranauts. They come here to visit and they do things. We won't get into all that, but they are very well connected with what you call Bigfoot. The ships have been seen with them. I don't know the connection. And we've been on this earth a long time, and in other times, the native people have communicated with them. I think the Bigfoot is the most popular because they might be the most populous. What I know is that the reason that we're allowed to eat animals now is centuries, thousands of years ago, animals were killing a lot of people. And you're not allowed to kill a people, something with a soul, which concerns me about killing dolphins, porpoises. What's the porpoise? I think it's a porpoise. Porpoises. I used the wrong word. Porpoise is the big guy with the smiley face, you know. I don't think you're allowed to kill people. And if you do, there's great retribution. So we're allowed to eat animals in that way. In the future, of course, the lion will lay down with the lamb. Way, way, way in the future. Way, we're not going to be there next year. Of the cryptid population, you don't put fairies in there, gnomes, dwarves, elves. They are not in a physical body. So cryptid to me is something that is in a physical body, but they can shift maybe. I don't know. But I think to see in it, if I came face to face with a Bigfoot, yeah, it would scare the crap out of me because it's something that you don't expect to see. You just don't. I think I would calm myself. I'll let you know. I don't know what would happen. But I think to face our inner demons, that's more constant. I think that's something that's in our little backpack we get of our seven deadly sins when we come to earth, that you have to face your inner demons. The Desert Fathers, why'd they go out there and do that? Not to get into that long dissertation. St. Anthony, he faced physical demons, as did St. Padre Pio, physically fought demons. And how could they manifest? Well, they could because they were powerful. But he also went through a period where he faced his inner demons. That is what the recovery movement is about. I'm quite fanatical about the recovery movement. Back in the early 80s, mid 80s, it was pretty big. I've spoken of this before. We went to a bunch of meetings. John Bradshaw was the granddaddy of it. But here's something new that I thought of the other day. This has to do with facing the emotions of cryptids or our inner self. I think we're in a new time. I've never heard this said before. It might have been said, but you can't heal the emotions with emotions. We can't keep going to these meetings talking about our emotions because it just creates more emotions. It's like continuing to put more and more yeast into the bread dough. What do we do with it? We have to go within because that's where the so-called demons live. And you have to get mental, the ajna center right here. We raise it from the third chakra to the ajna center. Is that easy? No, especially when we're in emotion. It doesn't mean don't have emotion. It doesn't mean don't feel. But we're just getting to the point to where we're starting to get more of a grip on that. Meditation is being taught. Meditation isn't always sitting for hours and hours. I can't do that. I'm not one of those people. I like walking meditations. I like 10-minute ones, whatever. I'm just one of those people. So if I could address what you said, Bigfoot or my inner emotions, I think I'd rather face Bigfoot, considering the drama I've created in my life with my own inner demons.
That is so relatable, and it's really why we're here because, um, with Zoli art, we're all about expressing things creatively and collaborating, and since this is the Zoli Art Montana podcast, we want to, discuss the finer points of why it's so scary to be authentic. What do you think about that?
Because we judge everybody and they judge us. We're social creatures. We're always comparing ourselves to other people, but there's a point of stopping that also. It's like when I was saying, discussing with Spirit, you and I were laughing about this last month about I had gained weight or this or that. They said, find something else to do. Really, Zoli, find something else to do. So we have to learn to shift our focus. But the main gist of Zoli art is this collaborative energy and effort. I thought of this morning. I'm a puzzle piece. And when I do these podcasts and you do these podcasts, you and I are just two puzzle pieces to this huge, how many people are on the planet right now? 8.5 billion, maybe. How many people are in spirit that are not in the incarnated bodies? 60 million, 50 million, I don't know. But we are just a piece of that. And it takes all of us to make this work. But we have to have boundaries too. The age of Pisces, that of course ended, is about individually finding more who you are. If you can't find out who you are, you're not going to put your puzzle piece in there because it's not going to fit. You just can't fit it. So this is why I harp on this message of let's find out more about who we are. What did you come here to do and why? We don't have to have all the pieces. We won't. But I think as we age and as we collaborate with other people, we get more and more involved in how to see the edges of that puzzle piece because we recognize things by their edges. And when we place that puzzle piece in the huge puzzle, then we belong. And so many times, and so many of us just feel we don't belong. We just don't. I get asked a lot of times, so you spend so much time alone. Your husband goes to trainings, he goes on this and that. Aren't you scared up there alone in that house? I'm never alone. Are you kidding? Here's a little woo-woo. Before we started this meeting, and I was fiddle futzing with all my stuff I have on, as I do, because I'm an old Southern insecure lady. I look over on the fairy bed. The fairy bed is this beautiful net covered bed with all these fairy things on it, and I'll show you sometime. There were about 20 beings trying to cram onto that. There were fairies, there were people, there were these little dark things. And I said, literally, I said, you guys all can't get on that. Come sit over here. And I saw something I'd never seen before. They were from different dimensions or densities. I'm not sure what it was, but they weren't all in the same one. They didn't all see each other. I've never seen that before. Isn't that interesting? I've
That
never seen that. Right. So
that's
the ones,
remarkable.
right, the astral beings, like the ones that you meet in your dream state at the Monroe Institute, these focuses, that's the astral realm. And that's very real. It's connected to the physical realm, and you do that with your emotional body. You have to do it with that. These other beings are etheric, or they're on the evolutionary, or hopefully the evolutionary. The evolutionary art can be a little difficult to deal with. It can be a little demonic because all it has to do with is the physical world. And that's what evil is. It's just physical. There's no spiritual. There's no feeling except physical. And that's said very poorly, but I'm trying to develop a different way of explaining that. Um, the lords of materiality rule this world, and they have. So I'm not going to get into that. We've talked about that before. I digress as usual. But there are all these beings on the bed. There's a few over there. Some of the big ones have pushed the other ones off. Some are under the bed. There's a little snaky guy. But why do I see these things? I've trained myself to do this as a psychic medium, but I was born like that to do it. So I'm attenuated to it. So when we go inside and we face our own demons, we face the things that bother us. A lot of that is with the gift that we were given to come to this earth and have it be difficult. It's supposed to be hard. We're not
It's
supposed.
so
Yeah,
why don't we accept that we are here to struggle?
because it's no fun. And we want endorphins. We want to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's also kind of childish. If we're doing a hard job, if I'm out working on the farm or the ranch here and trying to do a fence post, I'm doing it and I'm doing it fine. But what am I thinking about? When it's going to be over so I can feel good. But this is just how we're made. And is that good or bad? I don't know. There's all kind of explanations. You get into Buddhism. Buddhism very wisely says life is suffering, what you just said. And the cause for the suffering is the desire, what we want. And we want stuff. We want food. We want drink. We want clothes. We want. But that, look at all this around here. Everything you see was a thing before it was, oh, it was a thought before it was a thing. So that's fine also. It's not wrong. It just has to be put in its place.
That makes sense. We don't have to have all the answers. We can take it as it comes.
We ain't getting them, but we just want to feel good. Why don't you feel good? Yeah, we don't feel good because this happened, that happened, or we have a this or we have a that. This human life is everything. It's that whole puzzle. And I think we each have our own puzzle too, if you want to put that allegory in there. And with each success, we put another puzzle piece in. With each failure, we also put another puzzle piece in. And we just constantly judge this. We're trying to balance it all. And it's hard. It's supposed to be, but that's how we transmute energy,
Hmm.
by trying. We have to try. We don't feel good, this or that. We have to put out an effort and make it happen. That's big.
That is big, and it feels overwhelming at times.
Yeah, it does feel overwhelming. And if you're not feeling overwhelmed at times, you're not doing it right. And we're supposed to help each other. It's not that hard to be nice. There's that word, kind, nice. You never know when you're out in public, and you and I talked about this the other day. If you just smile at somebody, you never know what's coming through you as a medium. You are a medium for some energy coming through you that they've been asking for, and it will come through you. We are amazing, magnificent creatures, and we don't discuss that enough. But we are these pieces of God, and we come here to do exactly what we're doing. Is it getting better? Yeah. We have a brilliant, magnificent future for this planet. For I'm in the United States, you're in Canada, other people are other places, no matter where you are, I promise you, things are getting better. But all in the cesspool, all the nuggets have to rise to the top first. You just skim them off. And like, when is it going to be over? I don't know. I don't know, but we just keep doing our part. But anytime we can find that piece of compassion in ourselves to try to see somebody else as having just a really shitty day and to not react as we want to do because we think we deserve to. Maybe we do, I don't know. But if we can just be kind, it's not that hard to do.
Isn't that the truth? We tend to get stuck into our emotions quite quickly and react before we take a moment to realize what people are going through.
We do. And you have to have good boundaries too. You don't need everybody in your life. In fact, you
Right.
probably need very few in your life. And the boundaries of what is my close friend, what is my first circle, my family, and on the reservation, my niece's family, my Hunka family, the Tiwahe, it would be me and Tom and our grandson. That is who's here, so to speak. The Tioshpae is spread out. If we do a feed, the whole family, 80 something people, that's a Tioshpae. The Oyate in Lakota, the Oyate is the nation of people. So there are boundaries and rules and regulations of how you interact. And that is what we seem to have lost a little bit of in this society is our boundaries. When you go into town and you encounter people that are in stores that you see a lot, that is a different boundary than your family, people you work with. And it's very individual. We have to figure it out ourselves. But we should be helping each other more. When I do that, my life goes better. When I don't, duh.
It seems as if it's almost easier to be that person for others when you go within first, when you're not so stuck in the fear of discovering who you are, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And it depends to me. I can only speak for me because I look in the mirror, I see me, not you. I don't always do that. A lot of times I'm busy. I'm thinking about, did I finish that article? Did I do this or that? Did I do the laundry? When have I been? I'm a Montana housewife. I'm busy. What can I say? I get up in the morning, I do all the same things every day. And that's fine. It's a good boundary. But therefore, when I go into town and I separate my energy from that, I should be more present. I think I'm getting a little better at it. You'd have to ask my husband, who would probably laugh hysterically as he does. But we'll see. But you're right. It's better if we're not in ourselves. But that is the point of the puzzle of the group. When we are out of ourself and we are focused on not here I am, but there you are. There you are. And let me do within my bounds today something to make you feel a little better.
And we can probably connect that to how we started, how, to these interdimensional beings. And as you described, the fairy bed, all the creatures sharing a fairy bed. In the same way we do with humans, we can be more aware of the supernatural.
We can, but once again, and I came to this late in life as an older lady, that we are here to be here. We're not here to do what I did most of my life. I was out in the Neptunian ozone talking to fairies, and then people thought I was friggin' nuts. Probably was. I don't know. You have to ask them. But we come here to be here. But that other world, we use our physical senses for this physical world. You need to see that's real. Because if you bump into it, you're going to feel it is. And to argue all day whether it's there or not, just bump into it. You'll see. You need to hear things. You need to taste things, touch all of these physical senses. However, when you go within, you can't use those. There's the problem. We haven't taught that enough these days. We haven't learned enough about it. You have inner senses, you have your intuition, you have your situational awareness, you have your feeling nature, you have your ability to cognate and to tune in to what's around you. I have been fortunate in my life to where I've had time to do that. In my training, I could do that. One of the funniest things we were in, where we were coming back from Yellowstone. It's about 5 miles down the road to Montana, and we stopped. It wasn't what is it, Virginia City. Went in and ate at this little restaurant. Of course, I'm picking up all this stuff. It was just packed with beings. I'm trying to tune it out. Never more do I ask who's here. No. So I had a nice lunch, and Tom and I walk outside, and as I open the doors, this little porch, there's this old cowboy standing there dead. He said, I didn't shoot him. I said, yeah, you did. I didn't kill him. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. I said, how long have you been staying? Yeah, get away from me. I walked off and I said, I'm done with ghost towns. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So do you want to live like that? You think it might be cool? No. So what kind of attunement do you want to this other world? Because we come here to be here, see? My husband, who's very intuitive, has to be trained in the physical world. He was a special forces medic. That's medicine. You know how you've got to be a doctor in the military. You are a doctor. You can't be worrying about this and that, but he's very intuitive. Then he went on to be a JSOC operator. He's all over the world doing this. Helicopter crashes. He's got the wounds to prove it. That's the physical world. That said, he's also very intuitive. If you are in a war situation, if you are in a Humvee and you are trucking down the road, you want to be aware, and your situational awareness will kick in. And so it's not that easy to divide and to define what the difference is, because sometimes you use those things together. In law enforcement, his family, we have a law enforcement family. He was a cop, his father was a cop, uncle, everybody. When you roll on a call and you get out of your cruiser, you walk up to another vehicle, you're in your situational awareness. You're attuned to it. You are sensing it. You may not call it that, but you are. If you're a mom, you do that. If you're a mom, you're attuned to your kid and you're like, I don't know what it is, but I can feel this, or this. If you're in business, you'll do that. So we don't really talk about that a lot. And I'm not the one to do it, but I hope to gosh, somebody figures out some way of teaching this more, to make it fun. If we taught it in schools, that'd be cool. But don't get me started on the schools. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't have kids because I didn't want to raise them. And there you go. Just didn't do it. But I have plenty of them in my life. But from what I've heard from others, the school systems need to be changed a little bit in this country, a lot, a little bit in Canada, a lot. So it's getting better, but it's slow. It's slow. And if you think that these people doing these changes aren't using their intuition, they are. We just don't call it that. This is a feminine quality. But for the next 20 years, the female energy is up. And it's not just women being more powerful. We're not taking the world over. The feminine energy is all those inner senses. That's what's coming up. And that's what's exciting to me.
It is exciting, and you talk about it a lot in the book, The Law Enforcement and the Paranormal, and you highlight that awareness that I think law enforcement, it must come natural to them, but they need that awareness, and we have that same awareness if we put it to use. Uh,
Yeah. And you have to have a spiritual basis for it. That's the thing. You got to have something believing that is not just you, that there's something higher than you up the ladder. In recovery groups, we call it higher power. You know, uh, I'm a Catholic theosophist. I have a lot of names for that energy field. I won't get into that. But there is something there that is unnameable. It's the unknown God. And it's inside of us too. We're never separate from it, ever. We're never separate. And you are never really alone. You are surrounded by ancestor beings who love you and who accept you. You're surrounded with interdimensional things. Maybe you've spent a lot of times on Sirius or a lot of lifetimes elsewhere. Most of us have. Does that mean you're an alien? No, I've got a birth certificate. I was born in New Orleans, but my soul originated on Vega. And so that's where I came from. That's where God, the universe, deposited my soul first. I was created and put there for a reason. I spent a lot of lifetimes on Spica. Spica is the planet is 10 times the size of our sun. There's a lot of space. I like a lot of space. So there are ways of finding out more about who you are and where you go. But do I think I'm an alien? No, clearly I'm so human, right? But you carry these signatures of other things and places. And that's what I like people to find out about. Who are you? Where'd you come from? And what are your skills? What do you have to give this place?
What would you say to people who feel lonely or that they've investigated and they can't find, they can't find their way?
Keep trying. That's all you can do. And maybe you're looking in the wrong place. Maybe you have to have the experience of being alone but not lonely. There's so many answers to that, Linda. I think the thing about going within, fine, what does that mean? Going within. It means listening to yourself. You need some quiet time to do that. My younger friends have two, three, four kids. They're busy. They both work. When do you have time for that? You don't have much time, so you'll have to have these little many times to do that. MINI, not MANY. There are many answers to that, but I think in our society, because we are social creatures, maybe we put too much emphasis on social media, on belonging, on this or that. We want to belong and fit in. If I started wearing a toga to go to the feed store, that'd be kind of weird because it's not normal. What is normal? There's a lot of argument about that. When people think they're not normal, they feel alone. They don't fit in. I think what normal is, my definition is appropriate response to stimuli in the time that you're in. Appropriate response to that. Back in the 1950s, when I was born, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, people dressed differently. Now they dress differently. What is appropriate? And so we have to do a little bit of that to fit in, a little bit of that. And you want to belong to something. You want to feel that you're part of something. I don't know how that works for everybody, but you want to feel like you're part of it. And if you're drugging yourself to death, if you're always stoned, if you're drinking too much at night, you might want to try going within without drugs and alcohol because all it does is stop. It stops everything. And if you start doing this at an early age and recover, we say you start at 13, you're still 13 emotionally. You're going to have a hard time. The reason I harp on that is that we come here to be here. We don't come here to escape from the difficulty. Now, I voted medical marijuana in Washington and in Montana. I believe in it. And so what if people want to smoke weed? I don't care. But to do that is a lifestyle you will never go in. You want to come home and have a beer? Who cares? But to do that is a lifestyle too much. That's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. So I'm not the one to talk to about the joys of drugs and alcohol. I'm just not there. In Montana, that's about all there is to do, apparently, sometimes, and that's fine. But you're not going to get where you want to go at the level you want to be. You may get there, but there's going to be a lot missing. You need to be able to fill yourself with yourself, not with other things, to change your reality. We come here to be here.
That's a really good point, and it has me thinking about the balance between fitting in. And when we find ourselves, we usually find, something a little strange. Everybody's got their own strange uniqueness. So I think it's a challenge to embrace that weirdness, but also be reasonable.
Absolutely. And there's kindness there. There's the kindness to the self and to the other people. And we all have insecurities. We really do. We all want to be a part of. We don't want to be made fun of. And if you were a kid, if you were as weird a kid as I was, you were made fun of all the time. I didn't get picked for anything. And I was weird. I didn't blame other kids. I was too weird to even be around. Don't do that. But I couldn't help it. But I learned from that. Did they learn? I don't know. They're probably pretty cool adults by now. I don't know. But we have to find that balance. And I always think it's weird to say we have to get to know ourselves. Isn't that weird? Here I am. I have to get to know me. Where did I go? What is lost? We reclaim pieces of our soul. The soul lives on the soul plane. It is the highest one. It is a master. It is part of the Godhead. And we can access that energy more and more and more by going within ourselves. We can access that. And if you think you're going to do it through taking a bunch of drugs and alcohol, you got to come back, I think, and do it again, because that's false. And there are beings who live in the worlds of ayahuasca, of marijuana, of all these different cocaine. There are different astral entities connected to those things. You will meet them and you might get attachments. I guarantee you have attachments if you overdo it. But I'm not going to get into that. It's really not my specialty. We're not going to do any exorcisms. I think it's a personal choice. There's some people that say, I can't live my life without coming home and having a glass of wine and a joint. So what? So live your life like that. I can't answer that. I can only speak for myself. But clearly I'm an advice. I don't know, if it's true or not. Can't help myself.
Sorry to disappoint you. We will not be summoning demons on this podcast.
I don't think so. Oh my gosh, I have this sign. We have this. I've always had a bathroom, a little guest bathroom. I call it the New Orleans bathroom. It's got all kind of weird, insulting, funny, hysterical things. And it says, "Do not summon demons in the bathroom." I have this little plaque, And that just brings up a lot of stuff and a lot of people. Well, why would you do that anyway? I said, it's a joke. It's just a joke. Well, where can I do it? Well, I don't know. At the farm, we had a big pit where we burnt all the logs and everything. It was nice. It was probably 20 feet round. And I had this little placard up there that says, "Please, after you sacrifice chickens, clean up your mess." Now, nobody's sacrificing, but it's just to be silly. So a lot of this is being silly, and we have to be silly. If we're not silly, I'm probably silly more than is healthy. But if we're not silly with some of it, my husband's very good at it, then we get too focused on us and how important we are. And the part of us that we think is important, we're trying to protect that. It's our addictions and our emotions.
That's a good point. And that prevents us from really going with it and knowing ourselves as well.
It can, or it can be a stepping stone to do that. You see, supposedly we just do things till we get a belly full. We get sick of it, then we'll quit. We have called bottoming out, or I don't know if you ever bottom out, but you get to the point where you're like, I can't go any further. Well, maybe the beings around you are like, I am done with your shit. Either you get it together, if you do one more da 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 da, and that happens too. I've done that in my life. I was an absolute idiot. Oh my God. I'm too old to be that big of an idiot. I told you about went out there and got on the quad, and all the beings around me are like, no, 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 we can't have no, 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 no. You have 2 hip replacements. No, you got dental work. No, we're not getting on the quad. So do you really want these abilities where you can hear that shit? Wouldn't you rather just be able to be a person and get on the quad and have a nice ride? Tom got me a smaller quad. It's fine. I told him to shut up.
Sounds like the best of both worlds.
You got to be silly. You got to be silly. You really do. We need
Life.
joy.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we need joy in life, and we're not always going to have it. But when I remember to go out of this house, to get in my truck, and yes, I drive a truck, go down the hill, and by the time I'm down the mountain, adjust my attitude to who's here? Who am I going to encounter today? I go to the post office. Hey, Charlie, there's these people, there's that people. I always want to be up. And if I can't be up and breathing freely, I don't have any business in being out. Now, that is a learned skill. That is learned skill. Because when I don't do that, I feel bad about myself. I feel like I missed an opportunity that I could have given something. Do I always do it? Sometimes better than others. I don't know. And
A
I
beautiful
think
thing to strive for.
it is to strive for. And I think that God will put in our path people who will teach us and reach to us and people that we can be learning from and who we can be taught from. So it's always a give and take. And that happens to me. I can say every time I go out, one of those things happen every single time.
That's a really good reminder that the people that are around that we encounter are often we encounter them for a reason, even if it might not feel so great at the time.
It's funny. The statement, everything happens for a reason. Well, I think sometimes we have to make reason out of what happens. But
Mm,
I think what we're saying is we don't know what the reason is yet, but there is reason. There is value in this experience. There's value in it. And I think that we're looking for some sort of, oh, I feel better about that now.
mhm. So we can explain it to ourselves.
Yes. And everybody else is wondering, like, what the heck did you do?
Isn't that the truth? Seems that we struggle the most with our own as we started the conversation with our own inner demons. And something you touched on that I want to come back to is just to get to know yourself. There's so much out there about self love and how you have to love yourself. But what you said is where it starts. You can't love yourself till you get to know yourself, until you start to open that up, right? Right now, everybody talks about self love and how you have to love yourself, but it feels like you have to, it's better to get to know yourself first because if you don't know yourself, you can't love yourself.
I think they go together. I have this beautiful portrait of my mom downstairs, and I got a brass plaque and I put it on it, something that she always said. I wrote it in Latin, timid noce, know thyself. She would say to thine own self, be true. And that is authenticity. And I think it's a family. The love and the knowing the self, those things go hand in hand. I love people. I really, I do love people, but I don't love all of our behavior. That's the difference because I can be an absolute idiot as anybody else can. But the loving the self, sometimes if we do feel more loving towards ourselves, we will be calmer to be able to just let stuff slide. Just where was it? Was it a Catholic priest? I heard him say this called the holy shrug. If somebody does something, it's like, whatever. I think he was Orthodox, I mean Greek Orthodox priest. It is a holy shrug. They're just like, whatever, they're just being the people. They're just doing their thing. But of course, when people are closer to us, we take things a lot more seriously, like everybody's got a big reason to it. No, it doesn't, Zoli. Your husband didn't move that. You have territory wars, you get married. Did you put that there? Well, yeah. Are you sure you want it there? Well, that's why I put it there. Well, would you mind if I put it somewhere else? Why would you do that? Then the humor is gone because it's humanity. We just are like that. And if we can laugh about Tom and I laugh about it, we catch it now like, oh my God, we're doing it again. We're doing that again.
Catching it is a big part of the struggle, absolutely.
That's the self awareness. I think when we do that, we do great.
And I think that awareness builds as we converse with others and we, learn and grow and go through things.
There's a great beauty to being around like minded others. And I know you and Tina and I, these three gals that are doing these podcasts and the Zoli artwork, that it's a collaboration and each person does what the other one can't do because they haven't been trained to do it. And it's not what they do. And so we freely allow with like-minded others, the other person to be themselves and to do what they do and to put their puzzle piece in there. You don't go mixing and matching and trying to control everything. That's not collaboration. What that is discussing and being around like-minded others. And there's a great beauty in that when we're out in public. There's a great beauty in seeing people that we know that we feel this connection with. That's God. You can't get past it. Love is all there really, really is. And there's so many aspects of it. It's unnameable. Love has no beginning or end. This is what Dr. David, our therapist, says, great therapist, Dr. David Stube, says it doesn't end. Hate, anger, that ends. But love is the glue that holds everything together. It's pervasive and it's always available. It's always there. When I remember that, my life goes great.
That's gorgeous. It's a beautiful reminder. I think we'll leave that as our final note of the day. Love is everywhere.
I'll take that. I'll
Thank
take
you,
that.
Zoli, and thank you
Thank you,
everyone for
Linda.
being here. Uh,
Wonderful.
Visit the Zoli Art Montana website at zoliartmontana.com, and please feel free to reach out with any questions you have.
You bet. Thank you, Linda.
Take care until next time. Bye-bye.